Hey, it's Miranda. You're listening to Let's Hash It Out on letstalkpot.com. This is your one and only marijuana radio station, K High. Don't forget, guys, you can check us out on the YouTube feed. That is youtube.com. Subscribe to K-High. That's K space high. There you'll be able to check out all of our video shows, including the live feed that is happening right now. And, of course, remember, our phone lines are always open. You guys can give us a call at 719-591-KUSH or 719-591-5874. So today, we have a couple of guys in the house with us today. We have the lovely Miss Tori LaChapelle.
Hello.
And we have a surprise guest in here. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself for me?
My name's Chris from Green Horizon Medical.
Okay, Chris. So you brought us some goodies today. I'm excited. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
I just got off of my other show there. It's getting ready to be my first week done with FM radio. It's kind of nerve-wracking, but exciting.
Yeah, and I hear it was a great week.
Yes, it was. I've been having a lot of fun getting to jam out to some music. It's a little bit of a different pace than it is over here.
Yeah, it is. Well, at least it gets you hyper to talk, right?
It is. I'm getting into some good jams. I'm getting them to work with me a little bit and switch up some of their content. So I have a little bit more of a variety of stuff instead of, I just can't get into country music in the middle of the afternoon. It's just not my thing.
Driving through the mountains at the most type thing for me.
Yeah, it's mostly only if I'm at like the ranch, like at an event or
drunk.
Or yeah, and depressed.
And
maybe.
depressed. You got a story you need to cry about.
I'm searching for, do you guys have gum?
I
have
don't.
the worst cotton
No, I
mouth
do not.
in the world.
I have water.
Let me have a drink, please. Thank you. So what's new with you, Tori? Where have you been at? I haven't seen you in a few days.
I have been working a dream job. I have been trying out vaporizers and edibles and.
Did you bring me any edibles?
Not right now, but I brought you some cantaloupe.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Wow.
That's right. You
I'm
want to
excited.
review something for me for
Absolutely.
Ladybug Magazine?
Hey, you have picked out the right person for that.
There we go.
That's
There we
exciting. I've heard the weed pimps talking about that, and I didn't know that it was a real thing.
go. Oh, yeah, it's a real thing. You can make it at home, but, it's sometimes easier to buy on the go.
Wow, I'm
Yeah.
excited about
Well, you
this.
gotta let me
I
know.
feel like I'm probably blushing. Am I blushing now?
A little
No,
bit.
it's good. It's good. It's all good. You can't, a flowering cannabis plant is so much like a flowering woman. You just can't, separate the sex and the weed.
Well, it's a female plant, right?
It is.
So
It
if
is.
that says anything, then it's got to say no.
Definitely. A lot of characteristics. I'm writing an article now about the shared characteristics between women and the cannabis plant.
And that's for Ladybug?
That is for Ladybug.
So tell me about that magazine, because I'm excited to start reading it. I actually had never heard of it until recently, but I've been looking it up more and more, and the more I find out about it, I'm liking it a lot. I really like the formatting and the style and the angle you guys are putting on it.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, we're about women. And it's not at the exclusion of men, but it's about women in the drug war reform movement, women, just mothers, even transgender women considered on the fringes. It's about female empowerment. And of course, because we're all drug war reformers and cannabis enthusiasts, there's quite a bit of cannabis content, but we also discuss issues like, transgender issues and identity and even politics. We were discussing Jeb Bush's insistence that we should shame unwed mothers.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
That's a way to cure society's ills, is to shame unwed mothers. There'd be less unwed mothers, less broken families, and then of course we live in a Christian utopia.
Wow, I'm a little bit speechless with that one. That kind of makes me angry a little bit.
Yeah.
That's all over, that kind of
Well, yeah, when
ideology.
it comes to things about marriage and sex and that whole, scene as a whole, that one's kind of always been a controversial topic.
Absolutely, it all comes from the same place. I mean, just in thinking about it yesterday, between, there's if you create a black market, especially one based on Christian misogynistic ideologies, and not necessarily that Christians are bad, but misogynistic ideologies that are biblical based, you create prohibitions, there's going to be black markets. So, I was thinking about how there's a sex black market and there's a cannabis black market, and both things, the root of prohibition is rooted in the same thing for both issues. And we all know that sex prohibition doesn't work either.
That is a great point. I mean, they're all being trafficked one way or another through some type of a, what's the word I'm looking for? What is it with money?
Cartels?
No, it's like a
laundering.
It's like a revolving thing with money and I can't think of what I'm trying to do. Damn it. Anyways, but yeah, no, they're very much the same. They're just where demand meets supply.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of the sad thing, especially when it comes to things like sex trafficking. That one's just, I mean, sex trafficking is one of the top 3 things next to guns and money.
Yeah, absolutely.
For like the best money makers or whatever.
And you know, those are the things that are in our forefront right now, especially as politics and the presidential election comes up. I'm from Wisconsin. We got Scott Walker, who wants to do transvaginal, ultrasounds of anyone who's seeking an abortion for any reason. He has no respect for women's rights. And we're gonna see, and right now with everything that's being prohibited between weed and sex and guns, all those issues are in the forefront right now, especially with the class of ideologies that's going on, and that's going to become very prevalent during the upcoming presidential election. So, it's kind of the Wild West right now.
Things are definitely starting to turn a new leaf, especially for women. That's one big thing that's coming out huge right now.
Oh, yeah.
More women are coming out for, at least in the cannabis industry, more every day than there are anything else, and it's booming that way with every industry as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's women have always been in the cannabis industry. That's one thing that Diane Fornbacher of Ladybud would always tell you. She's been around for 25 years. Women have always been important in the industry, but society is now starting to catch on. And every day we get contacted by USA Today, New York Times, talk shows wanting to talk to the women in the industry. Because not only is it the women that are coming to the forefront in business, but we're also the ones leading the charge in advocacy and changing laws. That's why they call it the mommy lobby, in Washington right now. I like it. I call it the mommy, empowerment. I don't, necessarily think women need to lobby for a system that doesn't work right now anyways. I think women need to be empowered to change it. And Ladybud is all about that. We're about changing society.
There was an sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. There was an article that I was reading not too long ago, and it was talking about how if the government, they have the answer right in front of their faces as far as the legalization and the movement goes and how that's all going to work. And they're saying that what they're doing right now is targeting, making the focal point on the old and the sick and the young and the sick. And instead, really what they should be targeting is the middle American demographic, which is the housewives, the moms. You know what I mean? Because those are the ones that play the influential decision making for everything. You know what I mean? When it comes to worrying about education and their kids and safety and violence and crime, just as a general, the moms are the ones who make those decisions. Those are the ones that have the true passion, because they're the nurturers of of the world. They make everything kind of go around in a sense.
Oh yeah.
So if you have mom on board, you kind of have everybody on board in a way.
Absolutely. And that's a big mirage that society has created to keep women, in their place, and some women, scared, is that women don't have power. But when you actually look at it, we have the most power. That's why sex is trafficked, because it's a commodity, and it's where there's a commodity, there's power. But also where there's suffering, where there's life, there's power. And women are just, I'm not to be misogynistic, in any other way, but, women are just, even on a tribal sense with Native Americans, women are the givers of life. And right now, that's what's happening. Women are saving lives. They are giving life. They are preserving it. And that's what's happening right now in the world. And that's why we're seeing so much pushback from people like Scott Walker and Jeb Bush.
Favorite.
He's your favorite.
Yeah, Scott Walker.
Who's Scott Walker?
He's our governor from Wisconsin. Both Chris and I are from Wisconsin.
Yeah, he's pretty slimy.
He's bad, and he's running for president in a Republican ticket, and he's ahead. You have no idea. This man is a nightmare. He arrested me twice for singing in the Capitol, along with 400 other people.
What?
Little old ladies, veterans. They arrested us, put us in handcuffs, detained us, dropped us downstairs for singing Union songs in the Wisconsin State Capitol. Yeah.
Isn't that illegal?
Oh, it is. And actually, we're turning around. It was ruled unconstitutional what he did, and we're turning around and we're filing civil lawsuits.
Good for you guys.
Yeah.
That's not cool, man.
I know. And see, but that's the thing. This guy is capable of incredible fascism. And nobody has caught on to it outside of Wisconsin. And what he did, he completely destroyed the unions, private and public.
Mhm.
And, you know, everybody, there's no middle class without a union. And
Right.
he completely destroyed it in the union stronghold, the country's union stronghold. He destroyed it within 4 years.
Jeez.
And he's just completely destroying the state. I mean,
Yeah.
education, I mean, it's really
Yeah.
going downhill.
It's the complete opposite of Colorado.
How is he still in that position to be able to do that?
Campaign financiers are, you know, prohibitionists, the Koch brothers, the ALEC. They're the ones who write the bills.
Like Koch brothers.
Oh yeah, they're from Kansas. They have billions upon billions of dollars.
Are we talking Coca-Cola?
No,
Okay.
Koch, K-O-C-H, or Koch, Koch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Koch brothers.
Yeah, they're something special.
Yeah.
I've never heard of them.
Well, and see what they do is they buy politicians, basically by financing their campaign and hand them bills that they need to pass, and word for word. I mean, the right to work legislation is word for word ALEC.
Right.
And the thing is, especially when we're talking about race right now,
Mhm.
there is legislation that is purely racist if people understand where it comes from. And right to work is one of those. And if you look at the states that have passed it, that basically bans unions, the wages go down, racial disparities get worse. And right now, the number one presidential, candidate is a dude that just passed right to work in Wisconsin. And right now, we're dealing with racial issues.
Right. I mean, their whole goal is just to destroy the unions. Big money, big corporation.
Yeah.
I mean, the unions are where this all started for everyone. So,
Mhm.
I mean, what
Yeah,
they
I know
did
my
in
dad's part of
Wisconsin.
reunion, and I know that's a really big deal. That's how they get all this. That's why they have the strikes and stuff like that to keep it going.
Yeah.
Well, it's about the families and the middle class. It's not about these big corporate lobbyists. I mean, what they're doing to Wisconsin is a shame.
Oh, and if it's happening in Wisconsin, it's going to happen to the rest of the country.
I mean, they're destroying our state.
Yeah. And
They
the
should
good
just get a
thing
bunch of
is,
cheese balls and just start throwing them at the office and just let it stick to the windows and melt.
oh, we have done so many things. We blow horns in there. We got arrested for holding signs in the Capitol because of Scott Walker's, public or palace guards didn't like
What
what
is
we were
it?
doing.
What does Obama think about this guy?
He hasn't said. The thing is, the Democratic Party in Wisconsin has sacrificed us for Obama's second. I worked on the Obama campaign in Milwaukee in the last campaign. We were sacrificed by our own party, basically, because they would just concentrate on the Milwaukee vote. And Obama hasn't said a damn word about any of it, even while we were being arrested and being compared to ISIS terrorists. I mean, as a union issue, and it was on the news, we had 100,000 people pack the Capitol. We occupied it. Didn't hear a word from the administration because it just wasn't worth the risk of him saying anything and getting firebombed by Republicans.
So what I want to know is that where are all these other, big top money bag guys at around the rest of the United States who have the ability to kind of, if you will, match this guy? You know what I mean? And tell them, hey, if you think your balls are where your wallet is, then hey, let me square that issue up for you right quick.
Well, you know what? Hillary Clinton, I got to tell you, and I've been worked in strategy and as a political operative, mainly on the Democratic side. But
Okay, well, hold on one second. Is there a book where I can learn everything that you know? Because seriously, you can just drop knowledge all the time, and that's why I have you on here so much, because I learn so much all the time. I realize that when you're not here, I probably sound like a retard because I don't
no
talk
way.
that much. But seriously, how did you learn so much about
I
all
just
this?
got
pay
involved.
attention?
I just pay attention and I get really impassioned. And when I saw him destroying the unions as a nurse, the union that I depended on to be able to do my job, my kids' teachers depended on to be able to live and function, it ignites a passion. And it was during the whole Occupy movement as well. And, when it comes to politics and what can we do against people like Scott Walker and Hillary Clinton, because even Hillary Clinton, she's backed by big pharma. If you like medical marijuana, you better check yourself if you're interested in voting for Hillary Clinton, because she's going to put it right into big pharma's hands, because those are who pays her bills. So really right now, the best move.
Mr. Bill Clinton smokes weed.
Oh yeah. Oh,
So-
he didn't inhale honey.
Right.
He wasn't
Right.
chumgang and like Obama, but that's his own privilege. He's lucky. Obama's lucky he didn't get busted, because in a place like Wisconsin would have been an instant felony. You never get federal student loans. You never get housing.
What I don't
Stuff like that.
understand is how are they're able to go and arrest these activists, cannabis activists,
Mhm.
radio hosts, people out there protesting for talking about something that they'd partake in.
Mm-hmm.
And how is it that Obama isn't getting arrested for talking about using
Indeed.
drugs, or Bush isn't getting arrested for admitting to using cocaine?
I know. Well, see, I'm actually a little nervous because, you know, I live in Wisconsin. My family's in Wisconsin. I'm kind of tramping around the country this summer. But I actually had a famous cannabis oil patient in Wisconsin. She's from an Olympic family, you know, and we unfortunately lost her partially because we didn't have access.
Mm-hmm.
But they're coming out with a book about the things that we did, including growing in Wisconsin and, you know, meeting people for QPs of buds at truck stops and stuff. And people are like, aren't you afraid that you're going to get arrested? Well, you know, part of me is I don't do it without accepting the consequence. But God damn it, Obama's sitting there writing books about how much pot he smoked. If someone wants to arrest me for trying to save someone's life, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, and that's how I feel about it. But and even working on the Obama campaign, and I believed in him when he said he wouldn't attack medical marijuana. And then the DEA spent like 3 times more during his time in office busting people for medical marijuana in medical marijuana states than the Bush administration ever did.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if you want to look at candidates that actually give a crap, that aren't corporate bought, and that who support cannabis, Bernie Sanders is the man. I'm telling you, he is 100%, you know, he has raised so much money just from people like you and I. He doesn't have corporate sponsors. He's not a race car politician, you know, and he listens, and he's very pragmatic. And I've met Bernie a few times in Wisconsin, and he's the man to get behind, because he's about, you know, free market cannabis laws, the student loans, you know, the student loan game that people get caught into, where they have $250,000 worth of student loans just to go to college.
Shit, I married into over $100,000 worth of student loans just because of my husband.
Yeah, I know. And seeing it will affect you for the rest of your life. I'm going through the same thing, and you can never get rid of it. It's the only thing you can't declare bankruptcy on. But it is something that is changing people's lives, and they're losing everything from simple student loans. Mm-hmm. And college is becoming more unattainable and more unaffordable, so people are reliant on it more. So simple things like that, like populist issues, go Bernie. You know, send him $10. Don't send it to Hillary or
you know, what I have to think about is I never even heard of this guy. I didn't know who he was, and that just makes me wonder how many other people have never heard of him or know about it and know that he's not using, you know, those big corporate campaign dollars. And if they did know about it, how many more people would be willing to be able to, even $5, put it in an envelope and drop it off? You know what I mean? Together, people that are in this community as an activist, we should be telling more and telling everybody, just like we do every day, about, you know, the medical uses and the great, you know, benefits from it. Tell the political side of it, because at the end of the day, those are the ones that are making the decisions for us.
Yeah, we actually changed the political landscape. Medical marijuana patients did in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. A year and a half ago, they had an excellent whole plant bill, medical marijuana, and sponsored by Republicans. And it was ready to pass the House and everything. It would have passed both houses, and it was up to the governor to sign it. The Republican governor refused to sign it. So all the advocates and the activists and their families supported the Democratic challengers. And they threw their weight behind the Democratic governor challengers. And it was a Democrat that was elected, mm-hmm. and who immediately said, whatever comes to my desk, anything you want, we'll sign it. And not only did they have support from both Democratic governor challengers, but he named the one that named the loser to his cabinet. So there is like double stack support in the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania because the medical marijuana activists became active. They mm-hmm. went to campaign stops, and they talked to them, and they got them on record, and they told their stories, and they just pounded the hell out of it. Mm-hmm. And it can be done politically.
That's crazy. That just goes to show more and more people need to start speaking up and being able to drop, you know, knowledge on these people, because a lot of times too, we're not giving them the credit that they deserve either, because we don't know what's going on behind the scenes in the Capitol and inside these government buildings and what they're being fed information of. So who's to say that they're not just like us and they're not believing and going along with something because somebody told them that that's what they should be doing.
Oh yeah, that's what happened with the CBD bill in Wisconsin with my whole plant sponsors. They were like, "Oh, we assumed you would want us to support this because it's a marijuana issue," and it was like, "No, this was actually used to kill our bill." Mm-hmm. But once, because they didn't know, and you know, they didn't ask me. Once they did it, they couldn't back out because it was political suicide.
That's crazy.
So we always need to communicate with our legislators. It makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. We'll get back to it. We're going to hash it out here in a minute. We're going going to go to a quick break right now. This is Miss Miranda Wrights on K-High. This is letstalkpot.com. We'll be right back.
This is K. Okay, all clear.
Thank you.
That's hyper as usual. Like, yeah.
I found this article. Oh, it is right. It was. I had it checked up. I can grab this for you. Fuck yeah, dude. You make me want to like learn all kinds of stuff just because
You're smart.
you talk about it. Yeah, but have you listened to my show past 2 days?
I got way too
Stone. I was like, I talked about doing the Miranda rights.
I'm Miranda.
Okay, I got all twisted around in my words and shit. It was not cool. Oh, I wanted to talk to you about this article. Who does all the lady business article? Are you attached to that?
Oh yeah, that's Diane. I was gonna do yours. Where
It's
is
great
it?
to see all these super powerful women, super smart, super educated, pushing this whole thing forward. I mean, that's so special. You know, especially with Lady Bud and just getting the voice and the opinion out, like you said, the mom and the pops, and the normal people.
Because at the end of the day, that's true. They're users just as well. You know what I mean? And if anything, they're the forgotten about.
Well, yeah, I mean, these are just about normal people.
And it's empowering for women to come out for something like this. I mean, women started alcohol prohibition and then they ended it. They did. So we could do the same thing, and we are.
45.
I keep forgetting to turn your mics on and off. It is a girl named Miranda, who's a New York radio DJ.
Oh,
Who plays old school 90s music and stuff like that during a lunch hour. I was like, what the fuck? This is me.
15.
Hey, what's up? This is Big Len. I want to thank you so much for checking out K-High Radio. That being said, a reminder to always be responsible when you partake of your weed. I mean, for goodness sakes, if you see your kids doing it, at least smoke it with them. Don't waste a good bowl, right? Strike the hammer while the iron's hot. Ooh, girl, what you got cooking in the pot? Say, Mary, Mary, white Mary. How does your
Mike Slap.
Hey, I'm going to go back. This is your girl, Miss Miranda Wrights. This is Hash It Out on letstalkpot.com on your one and only marijuana station, K-High. Don't forget, you can check us out on the YouTube feed. Just go to youtube.com and subscribe to K-High. That's K-High. There you'll be able to check out all of our video feeds that are going on, including the live one that's going on right now. So you guys want to wave to our YouTube watchers? How's it going?
Hello.
And as always, you guys can give us the call and hash it out with us at 719-591-5874 or 719-591-KUSH. So we're here with Miss Tori and Mr. Chris here. We're just hashing it out over some Lady Bud.
My headphones keep going in and out.
Oh, okay.
And that's all right.
Like
We're
pulling
good.
on the cord.
You're pulling my cord.
Sorry.
Ooh,
Is that better?
I felt that. No, I'm good.
Whoa, hey.
Okay, well, what are we talking about now?
So I came across this article last night because I was doing a little bit of research on Lady Bud because, am I allowed to mention that?
Absolutely.
Okay. I have been lucky enough to be able to be asked by you and Miss Diane Fornbacher to be interviewed for the magazine for the Lady Business article section of it. And I just want to say thank you guys so much because I cried when I found out about it yesterday. I really did. It is so amazing.
Well, you know, the thing is, Miranda, you're talking real talk, you know, from a woman's perspective, from a mom's perspective, from a newbie to the cannabis industry perspective. And, you know, that in itself is valuable because you're not jaded yet. You are still, you know, you have your eyes wide open. You want to know what's going on, and you're articulate, you're very driven, and we like where you come from. And the thing about Ladybud is we're about women empowerment, and the more people we pull up with us and take along for the ride and push into the spotlight, the higher we're all gonna get. So higher we're all gonna get.
Well, that is so cool. I can't tell you how excited that makes me feel and how proud that makes me feel to know that my mom gets to see all of this, because that's really where this all came from. And earlier this morning, my sister called me, and she was actually at my grandmother's house in New Mexico, and I haven't seen my grandma since my mom's funeral in February. And so she is a diehard Catholic woman. She is, you know what I mean, never really been up to the whole cannabis thing and stuff like that. But towards the end for my mom, she started recognizing and realizing the benefits that this cannabis had for my mom. It wasn't no longer about being high, you know what I mean? And after speaking with her this morning, I broke out into tears and stuff and telling her about my radio show and stuff. And she told me she was happy for me and that she was proud, and that my mom would have been proud. And that meant, I'm going to end up crying again, but that means so much, because she used to call me all the time telling me about people's stories and about how they've been healed and about this and how much better they're doing. And I used to get so mad at her telling, you know, Mom, I don't know these people. I don't care. Like, talk to me about something else, you know? And she wouldn't. She would still keep talking. And I would get so mad and so frustrated with her. And it wasn't until now that I realized what she was doing. And I didn't give her nearly as much credit as I should have for everything that she was doing, because I was so caught up in the fact that I grew up without my mom and that she was a drug addict and that she was going through all of these things, that it never occurred to me of what it was that was making this woman tick in the first place. You know what I mean? Where it was all coming from, where the passion, and why she felt the need to tell me these stories about people I had no idea who they were. And, you know what I mean? So I kind of had my own little aha moment about her life and seeing it as a reflection of mine. And for the first time ever, I saw it in a positive way. You know what I mean? Yeah,
absolutely. And isn't that beautiful? And, you know, I got to tell you, so many women I encounter, you know, empowered, beautiful, articulate, driven women with a heart like you, we're all doing it for a reason. And oftentimes it's our mothers or grandmothers. My grandmother had MS. She died just a few months before I was born. And, you know, my dad, you know, liked weed quite a bit. And, but I also, you know, I come from wanting to help a friend of mine dying of breast cancer. And once you make the connection that either it's curing or it's helping, it is improving somebody's quality of life, and it's you that's making that happen, it lights a spark that just never dies. And, you know, it's kind of, to me, it's part of the whole plant karma thing, especially with women right now, because we're taking charge and we're understanding our own roles as women through understanding our mothers, you know, and you know, and back to the plant, we all love our mother plants, you know, the mother plant is where it's at. So
it is kind of crazy and how everything kind of ties in like that. You know what I mean? I've always been a big person where and if you know me best, you always hear me say, oh my gosh, it's a sign, because I'm always looking for those kind of, I don't know, out of the box type of clues that I might be in the right direction. You know what I mean? And my whole leap into this whole industry, it just began in February. You know what I mean? So for me to do everything that I've been blessed to be able to have the opportunity to do and to have it fall in my lap the way that it has, I'm at an awe for word, and it can't be nothing but divine intervention by my mom because of it. You know what I mean? And it is amazing to think that everything in my life actually makes sense in a weird kind of screwed up hot way. You know what I mean? Like, it all kind of in a way was leading up to all of this. So it's really cool, and it's opening my eyes to more things. It's bringing out an inner confidence that I never had. It's bringing out, you know, a lot more to my perspective on just life in general, that I feel so I was so closed-minded before, and I feel almost embarrassed at the person that I was 6 months ago, because I was so, you know, sheltered, I guess, if you will, from everything. So people like you and people like Diane and other, you know, even you, Chris, you might not be a female, you know, as pretty as she is, but everybody in this industry as a whole, they're doing so much for people and not even realizing it.
Oh,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? And I mean, I think it was AJ Hashman who I saw on some dumb YouTube video probably in January talking about just openly about hash and stuff. And I think he was at a Costco and he had a got dabbed shirt on or something like that. And so I read this little article about it. But he was my first actual hindsight into the industry as an entertainment factor, as just like a whole new world, if you will. And so he doesn't know that. He didn't have any intention on touching somebody just because of some stupid t-shirt he was wearing. Yeah. But it did, and it kind of made me want to look into more about, there's cannabis events. There's a 420 community here. Like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's a whole culture. It used to be counterculture back in the 60s, and now, it's culture. And that's how important, that's how huge this is to just who we are as a people, our generation, and the direction our country is going. I mean, we're pretty influential, and it's comes with a lot of responsibility as well. And there's a niche for everybody in the industry, and I prefer the movement a little bit more than the industry. The industry is kind of new, but it's the Wild West, let me tell you. But I wrote an article about moving as a mom to a legal state to Colorado from Wisconsin.
I actually read that one last night.
Yeah, 2 years ago. And, and then all these things happened in Wisconsin. CBD bill, Scott Walker pissed me off, and our whole plant bill was destroyed. And then now the Menominee tribe, who he pissed off by refusing to give them a casino, is looking at growing in Wisconsin. So there will be growing in Wisconsin, hopefully, and that's why I'm going back. But when I wrote that article 2 years ago, just moving seemed like such an easy answer. And there's so much more to it than that. And I think, a lot of refugee families I know, especially from the South, they move here. And it's not just, now you have access to medicine. Now they're merged in with all of us, people that they otherwise wouldn't have encountered from all over the place with different backgrounds and different points of view. So, it's not just a whole, it's not compartmentalized politically, medically, recreationally. This is a movement that has $1 billion industry backed behind it.
Well, and it's not so much even just a movement, as it's becoming more and more part of just an acceptable culture. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Because I remember a long time ago when I was younger, you think smoking cannabis, you think anything ganja related, you think Bob Marley, you think Rastafari, and you think just the Jamaican culture, and that it's like an island tropical type of a thing. You know what I mean? There's that whole stigma to it. And then it kind of slowly, made its way over, and then it became more of an Americanized thing, I guess, if you will, where just everybody kind of did it. It didn't matter what culture you were, what race you were, what religious background you believe, because at the end of the day, everybody just is looking for a kind of a relief from the angst of everyday life.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So if you're self-medicating by smoking a joint, or by going for a run, you're still doing the exact same thing. You're releasing hormones and chemicals in your body and your brain, and you're doing the exact same type of treatment, if you will.
Right. We're learning more and more that cannabis is super healthy for us, along with exercise. I mean, this is the whole revolution of the medical industry as well. This is something that's super important, like you said, for everyone, for the mom and pops and for the normal people. And this is these other states that are having a hard time with medical marijuana. I mean, this movement's going to run them right over. And I mean, because it is bigger than all of us. I mean, it's super important to our health.
There was something that Joe Rogan said on that documentary, Culture High.
Yeah.
And he said that if you could compare cannabis to salt, you could talk about it like this. And he says that, okay, so you had 70 pounds of salt and you died. Okay, so, well, of course, you had too much freaking salt, you dumbass. You know what I mean? But if you take a little bit of salt, you sprinkle it on some popcorn, it's actually quite pleasant, and it's very, very good. But no, you were the dumbass who had to go and eat 7 pounds of salt and die. You know what I mean? So you're fucking it up for the rest of us. Yeah. So should we make salt illegal? You know what I mean? Do we need to make Krispy Kremes illegal because there was a woman who had to, seek rehab and therapy because she used to like to take a box of donuts into the woods and eat them where nobody could see her?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's an addiction.
Right.
So exactly same thing. Should we outlaw everything?
Yeah.
And it's when you break it down like that, it kind of makes it a little bit ludicrous and points out the hilarity and what these politicians are trying to fight for. There was another one where I can't remember who it was some politician guy, and he was asking, I think it was like the director or the main operator person or something for the drug enforcement division, And they simply could not answer the question that meth was worse than marijuana.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Oh
isn't
yeah.
that ridiculous?
It's like, really, you're really gonna sit there and just avoid the question as much as possible. And you can see it in their eyes. You can see they're like, oh shit, I'm
Even
stuck.
with alcohol. I
Mhm.
mean, it's just more and more we're finding about. I mean, cigarettes. I mean, it's the same thing. They don't want to answer these questions to your face.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And even, I mean, the last federal court ruling that took place in California that people had their hopes on, the judge basically said, I can't rule on this. You know, I don't want to rule on this, basically. I mean, because it's such a domino effect, you know, once, and we're talking about, you know, pressure from the alcohol, tobacco, pharmaceutical industry, and the biblical, you know, Southerners.
Mhm.
We're talking about all that stress on a plant. And the thing is, it's a domino effect. Once legally in the country, it's admitted to have medicinal use at a federal level, or, you know, or anything like that, or even unemployment claims or being dirty at work. Once they admit that and they make a ruling in our favor, the dominoes will keep falling precipitously.
Oh yeah, there's no putting the cat back in that bag.
No, not at all.
I mean, just like here in Colorado, I think it was you that was asking me, what would we do if in 5 years Amendment 64 just tanked?
Yeah.
And the federal government wanted to come after me for all of this and for everything, and I was like, oh hell no. You think Colorado's going to let that happen? They're going to give us our weed, and then they're going to try to take it away.
They're going to
talk about mayhem and anarchy that's going to happen.
Well,
People are going to flip the fuck out.
The thing is,
You can't get
it's
your medicine.
slow. The thing is, it's slow. Like we're even seeing in country or states like Oregon, where caregivers and patients are under attack. I mean, it's becoming more difficult to be a medical marijuana patient in Oregon right now, which should be the easiest place, to be honest. And California, as recreational comes down the market, it's going to get tighter restrictions on medical. What will happen? See, here's the sad truth. You call anything medicine in America, it belongs to the pharmaceutical industry. That's how the whole regulation system works with the FDA and everything like that. You call it medicine, it belongs to the pharmaceutical industry. As soon as they reschedule medical cannabis to Schedule 2, it's only going to be allowed in hospitals and pharmacies. So people being, you know, practitioners and wellness centers and stuff like that, they're going to have a whole new set of regulations to fall under because it's a Schedule 2, because they admitted it has medical application.
So one thing that kind of, it frustrates me, and I'm sure it frustrates everybody because it kind of, I don't know, it just fucks up everything.
Yeah.
Really is all the loopholes
Yeah.
that are into everything. And I mean, I know that a lot of what people are getting away with, they're able to do because of these loopholes.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, it's so hard to keep under wraps which avenue to weave in and out of everything, and which way, you know what I mean, how to catch yourself in the middle of, you know, well, I can work it this way, I can work it that way. It's too much crap.
It
You know
is.
what I mean? What is it going to be? What is it? Is it just full federal legalization that's just going to put all of that under
It
wraps?
has to be full repeal of the prohibition, like alcohol prohibition. You know, we're going through the same thing again. There was one time medical alcohol where certain pharmacies could sell it to people who had a letter from their doctor. Alcohol.
What was the subscription be for?
Probably, I don't know, sleeplessness, stuff like that.
I mean, they used to prescribe MDMA for marriage counseling.
Oh, you know what though? I mean, hello.
It probably works. They were loving the hell out of each other.
I know, right? But you know, that's the thing. This has been played out before as alcohol prohibition. We all need to hit some history books and maybe take a look, because when you see the parallels, it's insane. And you can kind of see the next move. So what they're doing right now with this hodgepodge of, you know, Schedule 2, federally illegal, we're not going to bother you if you're an Indian tribe, you know, we'll do this if you don't do that. They're basically setting up the chessboard to move in, to take over. The prohibition has been going on for 70 years. You think they don't have a plan? Like they didn't know what they were doing when they started patenting things back in the 70s?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When they started tripling the DEA costs for busting medical marijuana grows in the last 8 years.
Right. They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. Right now, the game is moving. They are set in their place, you know, checkmate, you know, moving their pieces. They can see the 3 moves we're about to make. We need to understand the moves they're about to make in order to know where to go from here to there, because it's their game.
Absolutely.
We just got to change it.
How many states are there legal right now total?
23, not counting CBD only states.
Really?
Yeah.
So I was reading this fact that gay marriage is legal in 8 states, but to have sex with a horse, it's legal in 23
That's
states.
right. That's right.
correct.
Way to go, America.
Good job, right?
Right. Way to
Good
go,
job. We
America.
can't go smoke a drum, but let's go have sex with animals.
Well, you know. you know, if you're smoking a joint, you're probably not going to need to.
What do you even
have
say?
sex with
Right?
What do you
Come on,
even say?
it's retarded. We're gonna hash this out as soon as we get back. We're gonna go to a quick commercial break. I'm Miss Miranda Wrights. This is K-Hi, Let's Talk Pot.com. We'll be back after this.
You better get up out of your chair and work your body down.
Long-held traditions meet newfound freedoms at Hashish House.
All right, all clear.
Thank you. Oh, and good song, by the way.
All right, yeah, kicking in.
Hell yeah, it's my style.
This is in people who.
It's this one.
See, there's like Jessica Catalano. She's in one related business. I'm going out to see Tony Fox. 3D.
Is that the
3D she has. 3D. The first ever. Yeah.
how do I get a job doing what you do?
That's not my job. These are my friends.
Yeah, but don't you get paid for all doing this?
Not yet. This is just labor of love, mama. Yeah. So far, and mindful, like, you know, mindful is one of our.
Because I need to make money.
Girl,
I don't have time to like do everything that it takes.
we should, you know. Diane and I were talking about. She's like, we need to start getting paid, and I will through Lady Bud meeting really kick off.
We should talk about
I
it.
know.
So much, I mean, we really talk, it's incredible, you know, this information that she bestows on people.
Yeah,
It's super important. And you're not telling us, you know, it's strong for women.
it is, dude. Seriously, to have somebody like you say that stuff to me, and even just consider myself friends with you, you know what I mean? That's
To me, it's so sexy.
Oh, stop it.
Good gracious.
you can't blame the guy.
Why can't I see this? Send that to me and because I'm an admin and it's weird search and stuff. Because like I'm the editor. It's different. Searching.
I mean, it's, you know, it's great to hear so many women talk about so many upcoming topics, you know. Our talk. We do it so well.
You do.
We do it just flawlessly.
I'm just talking. I just like to talk.
45.
You get me in a mood, but then I won't talk for 3 days.
I'm just soaking it all in. I'm just everybody's sponge.
Good. That's what you need to be. That's the thing. Once you start being all like, I know what I'm talking about, before you do. it gets
Oh, I said that probably every show. 'Cause I don't claim to know everything.
Good.
Every
Because I
time,
know I don't.
every time I'm hearing the same thing,
I 1 mile of CSX rail.
33.
Oh.
There are 21,000 more like
Send it to you on Facebook.
together. We help trains move a ton of freight, nearly 450 miles on 1 gallon of fuel. Tomorrow is full of promise.
I know. Diane was like, she's a woman of color, isn't she?
How tomorrow moves.
I want to do it.
Wild Ride Radio, the only talk show for everything motorcycle. If you're
No,
a
at
weekend
all.
rider or a hardcore
It
biker,
freaking
this
matters
is the
right
show
now.
for you. Join me, Dallas Hickman, every weekend as we talk two wheels.
Ooh, this girl's cute.
Right?
Oh, they did import it.
It's the way that we rock when we doing our thing. La, la, la. It's a natural high that the UTH bring.
What? And we are back. This is your girl, Miss Miranda Wrights. This is Hash It Out. Okay, hi, you run only radio station, marijuana radio station. Can't forget that already. Look at short-term memory loss. Huh? Don't forget, you can check us out on YouTube. That's youtube.com. You can subscribe to K-Hi. That's K-Hi. And there you'll be able to check out all of our videos, including the live feed that is going on right now. I always forget about you guys, you YouTube feeders. I'm so sorry. Don't get mad at me. Actually, as a matter of fact, let me pull this YouTube feed up right now. I hope it's not going to give me audio feedback, but I want to pull up the chat on here to see if I can figure out if anybody's trying to chat with us. How do I do that? I should know how to do this, right? My sister, Gloria, if you're watching or listening, hi. I promise I'll give you a shout out before I forget and get yelled at after the show. So, but let's see, I'll pull up the chat here in a minute. So we were talking about Ladybug magazine, and I came across this article about New York City's new DJ, Miss Miranda.
Miss Miranda, that's right. I know, it's fate.
It had me I saw it and I was like, oh shoot, let me read about this for a second. So she is playing down the femininity role without ramping up her masculinity. She may be a woman scratching records, but at her core, she's a person who has passion for music and a mind to melt it all together.
That's right. And that's why we love you. Not because you're like somebody else, but I loved the other day when we were talking about models, especially models in the cannabis industry. And I love beautiful women. You know, I'm all about beautiful women. But, you know, I am a nurse, and I released an article saying I am a 420 nurse, you know. And but I love what you said when you said, you know, what matters is when they open their mouth, they need to know what they're talking about. And that's what I love about you, because if you don't, you do, and you admit you don't know, you know, what you're talking about, and you do want to know, and you ask, and you're just great. You know, you're full of soul. You get the plant, you get the people. You're local, which is really important because you're part of the flavor. Yeah, that's why we do lady business, you know, for women who through their own empowerment empower others. And that's why we focus on women in business and women who are strong voices.
That's really cool. I always tell everybody I'm a big dork because I'm a big nerd. I love to learn. You know what I mean? Just like when I was coming back from Breckenridge a few weekends ago, I'm the only chick you'll ever find that goes into a dispensary and walks out with a book.
Well, see, doesn't that make you, and see, where does that come from? That comes from other women, and that comes from, you know, from society saying, oh, it's dorky to want to be smart, especially for girls. Hell no, we make smart look, because smart is sexy, and we want people to understand that.
Well, if there's one thing that I've always been stereotyped or kind of critiqued and criticized my whole life is the fact that I'm a pretty girl, I have big boobs, and so she can just sit there and be pretty, just stand in the corner, you know your role type of a thing. And I'm so not that chick. I cannot sit there and, you know, be pretty and just be quiet and that's it. Well, I'm not that person.
And there's nothing better than a beautiful woman who is more than just beautiful, who when she opens her mouth, she can command a room. You know what I mean? Because everybody stops because they expect one thing and they get something so much more.
Exactly.
And how you feel as a woman being that way, I mean, it's indescribable. It's empowerment that can't come from anywhere else but inside.
And growing up with my dad, he's a big inspiration for all of that because he saw both spectrums of it. Raising a daughter, I'm sure it probably is what caused most of it in the first place, but he always made sure to tell me, you know, always be sure that you can rely on nobody but yourself. You never give power to a man or to anybody else to have your whole everything in their hand. You know what I mean? Because they can crumple it and throw that shit out as easy as it came. And if you can, you know, have something to keep their attention. I mean, any pretty girl can walk in a room and turn heads. That's a given. You know what I mean? Everybody's going to look. Why? Because she just walked in. But they turn their heads about 5 seconds later. You know what I mean? But if you can walk in, drop some knowledge, and make them kind of go, huh? And you know what I mean? Turn to the side without okay, here we go. You know what I mean? Wonder how she got here. Then it's a whole different realm of things because you gain a different type of respect.
Yes,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean? You gain not just from what you look like and the fact that you can be pleasing to the eye or because sex sells, but you actually have something to offer. You know what I mean? And if anything, it's like I always talk about Angelina Jolie and Mr. and Mrs. Smith because I always thought it'd be cool to be a spy because I'd love to be the decoy. Because they always underestimate the power. You can do that in the
cannabis industry.
They always underestimate the power.
I'll teach you.
But the power of a beautiful woman gets taken for granted. You know what I mean? And it's always been like that. Historically, it's been like that. It doesn't change. I mean, hopefully it will one day. I kind of, in a way, don't want it to just because then we lose a little bit of that edge. But at the same time, it helps because you kind of like have that secret. Like you have a secret weapon. You know what I mean? It's like, test me. Okay, well then let me school you right quick. You know what I mean? Exactly. So it's really cool if you can kind of back that up. You know what I mean? Your word is your most valuable asset.
Absolutely.
Not how big your boobs are or how big your butt is or how fat your wallet is.
And as an asset to anybody else but yourself. I mean, that's the most important thing, is that you feel you have, self-value versus your value comes from other people's opinions of you. Because let me tell you, as a woman, you open your mouth a lot, you can piss a lot of people off.
Oh, yeah.
And men and women. And, and that's okay, because as long as you love yourself and you're good with yourself, that's where your power comes from.
I love the quote that Tina Fey says, where she says, so what if I'm a bitch? That means I'm doing, that's a good thing. You know what I mean? I don't mind it.
Yeah, you're pissing, and just like Winston Churchill said, if you don't have enemies, you're not doing anything, or whatever. We are totally going to quote. Poor Winston Churchill.
If you don't have haters, you're not doing it right.
That's right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you use the word haters.
Cat Williams, actually, he says a stand-up comedy about that. About you should be trying to figure out what you can do to gain more haters every single day.
Yep, every single day. And you know what? And the thing is, especially for women like us, sometimes our hate comes from our sisters, because we live how we want to live, and it's not in a way that hurts anybody, but it doesn't conform to a lot of societal norms, especially women in the cannabis industry. So even though like some of our friends might get high with us, they look at us as being women out speaking about cannabis in the public eye and taking charge. They're not sure about that, because that's pretty risky, and that looks different. It's not the Scarlet A, anymore.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. It's edgy, but
or even for someone like me, a Hispanic, female, I'm not out hotel cleaning. I'm not a housekeeper. I'm not, you know what I mean. Don't have my hair tucked up in a bun. I'm not serving you food or wiping down your tables. It's definitely a big thing, and I never even looked at it that way until you had said it to me, actually, about how that being the first woman of color to openly come out on a national broadcast like this and speak about something like this, it never occurred to me that nobody had done that before. I would see, and that's just another thing that, being a pot or cannabis user, as you're open to the idea and you're open to everything, but you really are still kind of closed-minded about it, because you're just focusing on the fact that you can smoke it, and that's that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kind of like how I was. I never really even looked into thinking about CBDs and the medicinal side of it and all that stuff until I had to.
Yeah.
And not that, I didn't know about it, because I knew about it, but it was just sitting there in the back pocket of my brain, just kind of, like, okay, I know about it, cool. But it didn't get triggered, and so I think if you can kind of spark up that, I don't know, that inspiration, I guess. Then
absolutely. Absolutely. And, and so many of us, I started in medical, because I have fibro and Lyme disease, and I replaced everything with cannabis, and now I'm climbing mountains, all that jazz. And my friend was dying of breast cancer. But and I see this from, people from Florida, housewives, once the veil falls with medical and you start asking questions because it's a medicine, and you're like, wait, why did they even start this to begin with? And then you find out the truth that no one's ever died from cannabis. And then you find out the history just from being in a community, and it's changing minds every day, and there are housewives' minds to be changed, because we all want the same thing. We all want healthy kids. We all want to be free women.
Peace, love, and happiness.
Peace, love, and happiness. Sex, drugs, rock and roll for women like me, but you got it all. With the cannabis plant, you can, make your kids healthy and at the same time, enjoy life.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll is peace, love, and happiness.
There you go.
It's the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's just a different way that's exactly a different way to get it.
You don't change your game, you just change your hustle. I've always said that.
I'll see, and that's why I love you. I need to learn some hustle from you. Seriously.
That's what I get for hanging out with boys my whole life.
Me too,
so that's why they brought me up here on K-High, because I got some shit to say. Boys be giving me a hard time, especially the weed pimps. I love you, pimps, but damn it, there's a new boss in town.
There's a new boss in town.
I don't know. I think it's cool that you're actually a real medical nurse, though. That's really cool.
And actually, it was hard to come out, because at one point I was a school nurse at my kids' school, and everybody knew I was out for medical marijuana, but it wasn't until I went private duty and I could speak openly and publicly without worrying about, there's enough worries about knocks on our door from CPS and the police all the time. I don't need my employer knocking on my door. But the thing is, there's actually an American Cannabis Nurse Association. There's tons of us.
I heard about them. I feel so dumb, because I was at the expo this past weekend. I didn't know that they had a booth there.
Yeah,
I walked around
there.
and I saw some photos on Facebook about it later on, and I was like, I really wish I would have talked to them. I would love to do that.
Oh, absolutely. And it's student nurses as well, and CNAs, and I mean, anybody can join. You know, you need to support your cannabis nurse, your local cannabis nurse, because let me tell you, it's not easy. Nurses have had their license taken away. Me as a patient, you know, and you know, we lose jobs. And
I think anybody with that type of a title should kind of step up and hold that position strongly, simply because it does affect everybody.
It does,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean? One of the things, Presence actually was the one who influenced me largely on that, because she yelled at me, made me cry the first time I met her, because she was saying, you know, here you are claiming this new fad of being a 420 nurse, you know, and I'm up here fighting politicians for my kid's life, and there is a politician looking at a picture of 420 nurses in some pretty racy situations, saying this is your idea of a nurse in this industry. Hell no, this is not a medicine. I don't think so.
Yep, that's
so
right.
You know what I mean? So I think just anybody that holds that title, come on, you ladies, let's step our game up.
Oh yeah,
Okay?
oh yeah. And the thing is, the women in the Cannabis Nurse Association, are the strongest, you know, voices in the industry.
Right.
And you know, being a nurse, credibility comes with it, but so does compassion. And that's where you don't spend time in nursing school and do the things you do as a nurse without having incredible amount of compassion. And you can't work, you know, if you have compassion and you see how much it's a medicine, there's nothing that's going to stop you from getting it to the people you would care about.
Absolutely. And that's the overall goal of anybody in this industry or movement, if you will.
Industry movement.
Being an activist, you know what I mean, is all about fighting for something. So whether you're a 420 nurse, a ganja girl, or a registered medical 420 nurse, you're also fighting for the same thing. So it's excellent to see that we're all getting tied up into together.
Right. Cool. But you also need to be considerate of whom you might be influencing. Like me, as a real nurse, the models kind of influenced me backwards a little bit.
Yeah. Lots to hash out. As always, guys, we'll be back tomorrow. This is your girl, Miss Miranda Wrights. Let's talkpot.com.
This is K High.
Now
First station dedicated to marijuana awareness. How in the world can we talk pot all day? Well, the marijuana movement has a lot of passionate fans across the great USA, but there is medical benefits, legislative issues, lifestyle stuff, as well as a revolution that's taking place, changing society, just like at the end of prohibition during the 60s.
Are we clear?
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't hear you in my head. Did I get cut off at the end?
No, it was good. It worked our business.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Don't sound so sad. What's wrong?
No, good.
Okay. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Or talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
Yes, Melissa. You're very good. Oh.
Does it taste? Does it flavor? These.
I don't know. I don't say so.
We always get into such good talks when you're here. I seriously.
Well, we just like to talk. We just like
seriously, whenever you're in here, or Len, when he comes in, because he knows I like to argue, so he'll push buttons on purpose, which always it makes for a good show.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
But those are my best shows. Even the ones like with Sierra and Presence, they're good, but it's so just one topic.
It's kind of
yeah. You can only talk about it so much.
Mm-hmm.